Welcome to the Appleton Area School District candidate interview with Jason Kolpack. I want to thank Mr. Kolpack for being here today and answering questions for the voters of the Appleton Area School District. We're just going to start with a few little procedures. I need to remind everyone that the League of Women Voters is nonpartisan and does not support or oppose any candidate or party. The responses are going to be timed again. The timer is on the top of the PowerPoint screen, and you'll see the green line scroll across the top of the page. Questions were received from league members, from the public. They were clustered around certain topics that emerged, and some of the wording might have been changed in order for us to get at the essence of what that question was about. We also received questions from Appleton West, North, East, and Central students, which have been recorded and will be used in this interview. I want to remind everyone that there are 5 candidates, and on your ballot, you're going to vote for 3 of those 5 candidates for 3-year terms. So without any further ado, we'll welcome candidate Kolpack and ask you to please introduce yourself, explain your connection to the Appleton Area School District, and why you are running for school board.
Sure. First, let me begin by thanking the League of Women Voters. I really appreciate the work that the League does, drawing attention to local elections, and I really appreciate this opportunity to speak to the community. My name is Jason Kolpack. I grew up in Appleton and enlisted in the Navy out of high school. After the Navy, I used the GI Bill to attend college at UW-Madison before transferring to UW-Milwaukee, where I graduated with a degree in Management Information Systems. My wife and I lived and worked in the Milwaukee area for several years before making the decision to move back to Appleton 6 years ago to put down roots and raise our family. I work as a technology leader in the area, and I volunteer as a member of the Fox Valley Technical College IT Advisory Committee, as well as with Parks and Rec as a basketball coach. Lastly, I'm the proud parent of 2 current Appleton area school district students, and because of this, I have a vested interest in the success of the district. My goal, however, is not just the success of my own children, but of all the students in the district, because I view education as an essential public good with the power to shape the future and uplift communities. I believe that all students deserve a great education, and I'm running because I want to help ensure a safe and inclusive learning environment for every student, support and empower educators to do what they do best, and contribute to defining the policies that shape our students' futures. Thank you.
Thank you. So the first student question is coming from Aliyah Mans. She is a senior at Appleton Central High School, and here she is.
Hi, my name is Aliyah Mans. I'm a senior at Appleton Central High School, and the question I have for you today is, as an Appleton Area School District board member, what can you do for students to ensure that they feel wanted, welcomed, and are comfortable at school so they are prepared to learn?
Yeah, thank you, Aliyah, for that question. That's a really good question. And I think one of the things that's most important to think about here is this is why things like diversity, equity, and inclusion, culturally, linguistically responsive teaching practices, and social and emotional learning practices are really important. I think that all 3 of those things contribute toward making sure that students feel safe and included and at home in school. And it's just really important that students continue to see representation in the staff, in the educators, in the curriculum, so that they feel like they're part of what's going on at school.
Okay, thank you. Our next question comes from Maya Kofi. She's a senior and editor-in-chief for the Appleton North High School student newspaper.
Hello, my name is Maya Kofi, and I'm a senior at Appleton North High School. According to the National Institute of Health and the National Library of Medicine, 82% of transgender youth have seriously considered taking their own lives. What steps do you believe the Appleton Area School District should take to protect the well-being of this vulnerable demographic of students? Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you, Maya, for that question. And I think that the answer is going to be very similar to the answer that I gave to the last question. I think all of those things regarding representation, regarding social emotional diversity, equity, inclusion, all that stuff is really, really important, and is important for transgender members of the community, as well as everyone else, any other marginalized communities. I think right now, especially for transgender, there's a big kind of a lot of attention being placed on that, and I think it's important that we do put a lot of attention in making sure that we have policies in place that protect those students in schools. There was one other point I was going to make, but it slipped my mind. But yeah, I just think it's really important that we do what we can and set policies that will help protect them and make sure that they feel included and protected in school. Oh, mental health. That was what I was going to talk about. I think that a lot of work towards student mental health, and there's things that we can do around mental health to help improve there as well, making sure that resources are available and training is available for students and teachers.
Okay, thank you. Our next question comes from Delaney Lehman, senior at Appleton East High School and the editor of the student newspaper.
Hi, my name is Delaney Lehman, and I'm an editor for The Courier, Appleton East student newspaper. Here's my question. With more and more threats of gun violence and etc., what would your plan be to resolve or prevent further threats from occurring? What plans would you do to make students feel more safe in the Appleton area school district? Thank you.
Yeah, gun violence is an important problem that that people are facing all over the country. One thing that we've been able to do is by passing the Appleton School District referendum this past year, it allows us to complete some work that needed to be done to update schools' facilities and entrances to make sure that they're more secure and safer for students. There's a lot of discussion around the inclusion of school resource officers in schools. So that's definitely something that we would want to look into to make sure that if we're including SROs in schools, that we're seeing a positive effect from them being there. I think working with the community is definitely a really important thing to try and do what we can to curb gun violence. It's a very difficult problem for school districts, but doing what we can to make schools safe is definitely important.
Thank you. Many experts believe that effective teachers have the highest influence on student achievement. What approach do you propose for the Appleton Area School District to attract and retain qualified, effective teachers?
Yeah, this is, I think, probably one of the most important pieces for me running for the school board. I believe that making sure that the educators that we have are well-trained, well-equipped, have everything that they need to be successful is incredibly important. I am a leader in my work, and I believe that through the practice of servant leadership, making sure that we hire the best people and that we equip them to do what we've hired them to do is really important. I think that there are some things that we can do to help reduce the load on teachers and try to reduce job creep so that they're not trying to fill so many roles all the time. I'm interested in seeing if there's anything we can do around continuing education requirements to help reduce some of that burden. I'm also interested in trying to increase the feedback loop between the board and educators so that they have a bit more of a direct line to the board so we can get more of their information when we're making decisions. I think that if we can retain more teachers rather than recruit more teachers, we can hopefully make Appleton a place where more teachers want to come. And I think if we can work on retention, it will improve our ability to recruit as well.
Thank you. What are the leadership responsibilities of school board members in collaboration and building consensus with administration, parents, teachers, and the community? How will you facilitate all voices being heard?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really important part of being a member of the school board. There are a number of stakeholders that the school board members are responsible for working with, and oftentimes they can have competing interests between the administration, the staff, the community. We definitely need to work to try to accommodate a number of different viewpoints. I think transparency is really important. I think compassion is really important. I think that building consensus is something that is an admirable goal and should definitely be done to the best of our ability. But I also think it's really important to be able to think about your positions and change when needed. I pride myself on my ability to work with people who have different viewpoints and to consider different opinions from my own, to make sure that the opinions and the positions that I hold, stand up to scrutiny. I think that, again, transparency, openness, and communication are really the pillars here that are important.
Okay, thank you. Our next question comes from Esther Anderle. She's a junior at Appleton West High School and Renaissance School for the Arts and editor-in-chief of the student newspaper.
Hello, my name is Esther Anderle. I'm a student at Renaissance at Appleton West, as well as the editor-in-chief of the school newspaper at West, The Talisman. My question is, what are your opinions on the current book bans and censorship occurring in other places in our country?
Thank you very much for that question, Esther. That is a very hot topic right now in the news. I am of the opinion that book bans are, by and large, not a good idea. We have, I think, a lot of systems in place in the Appleton area school district that'll hopefully preclude that from becoming a big issue here in Appleton. We hire librarians and media specialists to choose and curate the materials that we have in our schools. And I think that we should trust them to do the work that we've hired them to do. We have committees that are tasked with reviewing materials when issues are raised up and cannot be resolved at the building level in the schools. So I think there's some good policies in place in Appleton that help to make sure that that doesn't become a big issue here. But I would be against banning books for sure.
Thank you. What are your thoughts on the curriculum development process and assuring that the curricula are culturally responsive and inclusive?
Yeah, as I stated in my first couple answers, I believe that making sure that our curricula are culturally responsive and inclusive is really, really important to make sure that we're accounting for the needs of all of the students in the district. I don't think that it's necessarily a good idea for the board to get involved with telling the administration and the teachers what curricula they need to teach and how to do that. I think, again, that we've hired these people who are professionals and have experience in doing this. And so while I think it is definitely a part of the board's role to approve and to kind of work with them on what's being done, I think that trusting the experts and the teachers is really important. I was really happy to hear in some recent board meetings that the district it has a regular process for reviewing and considering updates to the curriculum. There was just some recent conversation around important research that's becoming more public around the science reading. And I think that's a really interesting topic. And I'm glad to hear that the administration is continuing to look into those things.
Thank you. Standards-based grading and learning intentions have been implemented in in Appleton's education system. Do you believe that these practices are accomplishing their goals, and how have you seen them affecting students and teachers?
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic. Grading for learning is something that I really didn't know a lot about before I started running for school board last year. And since then, I've learned quite a bit. My children are in elementary school, and I think that in elementary school, it's a bit of a different challenge than it is at the high school level. I think that the goals of standards-based grading are really admirable. I think that the idea of grading around mastery of materials and the actual learning that's happening is really great. And I think that it's got some really admirable goals around making grading more equitable. It does seem to be causing some challenges, especially for teachers at the high school level. I know that it is a significant amount of work for them to continue to do that. And so I would be really curious to understand more from the teachers what the challenges are. Do they need more time? Do they need more training? And look into more about that and find out more. But I think the goals are admirable. It does seem to be providing some challenges. So I would look to solicit more feedback and see what we can do to make it more effective.
Thank you. There are programs like Help Me Grow, Birth to Three, Home Visitation, Head Start that all support families with resources and developmental screening for early identification and intervention when needed. How should the school district work with these local programs? What early childhood investments do you believe the school district should make to impact school readiness?
I think that it's great that I think it's really great that we're that the district is working with these types of programs, and I think that continuing to work on early education and school readiness is just going to pay dividends down the line. I think, again, with the referendum, a lot of the work that's been done to lower class sizes in the early grade levels can hopefully help with some of those early childhood needs as well. But I think that as much as is possible, it's really important for the district to work with these programs to help make sure that that future students have a really good baseline and have a good head start, especially for communities and for people who may not have a lot of resources to put their kids into private daycare, things like that. I think it's really important that we try to give everybody a head start and not just those who are most able to accommodate that on their own.
Okay, thank you. What do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of the Appleton Area School District, and how would you help to improve our weaknesses?
I think that the strengths of the district are many. I think that the teachers in the district are phenomenal. I feel that the administration has done a very good job. I believe that the new superintendent has, in his previous role as the CFO, put us in a really good position financially. And I think it's really set us up for success. In terms of weaknesses, I don't know that I would necessarily qualify them as weaknesses as much as challenges. I think we're going to have some really important challenges around making sure that we can continue to fund the things that the people in the district are used to the school district supplying, and that's going to be really dependent on a lot of the things that are happening at the state level with the budget. And I think there's probably some work that can be done again to try and work on staff retention. I would like to see, like I said before, I would like to see us, create possibly some additional metrics around job satisfaction and retention, and work to help make sure that there's a good line of communication between the board and the teachers on the front lines.
Thank you. And the final question, why should voters choose you for the Appleton Area School Board?
I believe that my combination of experience as a leader in private industry, I believe that my experience as a veteran and having, worked and lived with people from all sorts of backgrounds is very valuable. I believe that my experience volunteering in the community and having a history of service is also very valuable. I believe that my ability to work with challenging and difficult problems and working with people and leading people towards meeting some of those challenges in my day job would be really useful in the school board. And I said last year that I had a passion for learning, and that's still true. But what I found out since I began running for school board is that it turns out I have a passion for education too. I find it incredibly interesting. I spend a lot of time reading, researching different topics in education. And I'm just really excited about the prospect of being able to spend more time helping to make education work for everybody in the district.
Thank you. Well, a special thank you to Jason Kolpack for running for the school board and taking the time to share your responses with the Appleton Area School District voters. Much appreciated. Also, a thank you to the students and the school newspaper staff advisors for their contributions and assistance in putting this slide deck together. And then I have just a few reminders. The spring election is Tuesday, April 4th. You know what Tuesday, April 4th is? It's the Tuesday that's right in the middle of spring break for the Appleton Area School District. So I need to remind everybody and encourage everybody that if you are going to actually go somewhere and take a break that you've deserved, that you vote early, or that you get that absentee ballot and you get it in before you get on the plane or get in the car and pack up and go. This is an important election. So to go to myvote.wi.gov, make sure you're registered. That's how you can request an absentee ballot, and you can see what's on your ballot. Of course, there's the school board race, but there are other important things on that ballot, one of those being the state Supreme Court race. And so I've put a few nonpartisan sources on here for you to find out and just to watch, to read about, to decide who it is that you want to vote for. And I will encourage you to go to the nonpartisan voter information on vote411.org. And with that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us.